Tom Brady and the Buccaneers take center stage tonight on Thursday Night Football, and there are zero reasons to trust them. Zip, zilch, nada. There is no way you can believe that Tom Brady and company are suddenly going to get it going. Whether it's drops, whether it's the quarterback looking like he's 45 years old, whether it's the offensive line. This offense has been flat out offensive for Tampa Bay all year. I mean, this is the worst season Tom Brady has ever had. And the other problem and point of the program with Tampa Bay at home, the defense has been downright deplorable. You look at this defense, they got carved up by the immortal P.J. Walker last week. I mean, Lamar Jackson has to be laughing and licking his chops. Not to mention the fact that 3/4 of the defensive backfield for Todd Bowles' DBs, they're not playing tonight. So if Trubisky and Pickett and Walker could put up numbers and the Steelers and the Panthers could win, then Lamar Jackson, it's his time to shine. And I love Lamar. I am not a believer in the Baltimore Ravens big picture. I don't like their run game. I didn't pick them to the playoffs. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Don't love their offensive line. Don't love their defense. But that's how little I think of the 2022 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't believe in Baltimore big picture, and I love Lamar Jackson to shine and win tonight. As we move into the final week of October, NFL teams are starting to find out who they are. And for me, Dak Prescott takes the Dallas Cowboys up to an entirely different level. Prescott, I thought his performance on CBS last weekend, his return after the thumb against Detroit, was inspiring. I really did. I know he didn't put up big numbers for your fantasy team, but clearly Dak is back. And when Prescott's in the lineup, it changes everything because, look, there's a very realistic chance Ezekiel Elliott's not going to be able to go this week after he got hit in the knee against the Lions on CBS over the weekend. And Zeke has had a really strong season. But for this ball game this week against Chicago, it doesn't even matter. Look, the Bears are obviously dreadful. And the offensive line for Dallas is solid. Pollard could run the ball. The Dallas defense is flat out sensational. And Prescott is going to have a banner day. I think Dak Prescott takes his team to a different level. I believe in Mike McCarthy. Let's give him some love. He's done a heck of a job. And I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to be a force, not only on Sunday, but in the second half of this NFL season. Wasn't much shot making last night for the Lakers as they fell to 0-4. And look, it's a mess when you watch this team play. The offense is terrible. The roster construction, it's a flat-out fiasco. Can't play this one on Russell Westbrook. Can't do it. He didn't play with that hamstring last night, and I am putting hamstring in air quotes. I mean, the starting five for the LA Lakers, simply put, they can't shoot straight. And LeBron, frankly, did not get back on defense. Anthony Davis was grabbing his back. And I like the energy from Pat Bev, but he can't make a bucket if his life depended on it. And you're going up against Jokic and company, you're dead on arrival. The Lakers are 0-4, and their offensive performance is gross. Look at the points per game. Look at the field goals per game. Look at the three-point percentage per game. 29th, dead last. So the Lakers, this is going to be a complete and utter fiasco all season long. And Westbrook, when they traded for him, obviously, I was in the minority in thinking that he would add some life and some juice, and clearly that was not the case. I'm still not going to take the 2 first-round picks and use them in a deal to get rid of Russ, but you have to acknowledge this is getting late early, as Yogi once said. They don't have anyone who can shoot. Think about all the great LeBron teams, Lakers, Heat, Cavs through the years. They always have great outside shooters. LeBron has this gift, this knack. He can dominate a game while not scoring because he's that special. He gets everyone involved. Part of the genius historically of LeBron James, they don't have the dudes. Everyone's clearly pressing. LeBron's post-game and news conferences, as you saw right there, more interesting than the games themselves. There's nothing going right for the Lakers. And frankly, there's no hope in sight. Welcome back. Time to Schein. Thrilled to be joined by my guy, CBS Sports NFL insider, the great Jonathan Jones, and JJ Broncos GM George Paton gave a vote of confidence today for head coach Nathaniel Hackett, saying he 100% supports him. I don't believe him. How hot is that seat for Hackett right now?
Well, Adam, I mean, what else is he supposed to say, right? George Paton was the guy, the GM, who helped bring Nathaniel Hackett to Denver. He's the guy who traded for Russell Wilson, signed him to that contract that's worth nearly $250 million. It wasn't the current ownership, the Walton Penner family that now owns the Denver Broncos, that got approved after Nathaniel Hackett was installed as head coach. And so George Paton can sit there and say how much confidence he has in Nathaniel Hackett, and I tend to believe him, certainly considering what I've heard coming out of that building the last couple of weeks. But how hot is his seat? It depends on what the Walton Penner family really wants to do with that position. But I'm told, Adam, hey, they have more than 2 million employees that they've managed over time there with Walmart. So they know that sometimes patience is a good thing.
It's going to be fascinating to see what transpires with, again, and that's an important nugget, new ownership after the hire. So we will see what happens with the Denver Broncos. JJ, how active do you see the LA Rams being leading up to the trade deadline on Tuesday after they missed out on Christian McCaffrey?
They did miss out on Christian McCaffrey because they were lacking that fourth-round pick, and that's what got the San Francisco 49ers over the top. They didn't have a fourth because they traded away for Sony Michel, and now they missed out on Christian McCaffrey. If there is a team, Adam, that I believe absolutely is going to be making a trade by the November 1st deadline, it is the LA Rams. And at what position specifically? Edge rusher. I'm told by multiple sources around the league that the Los Angeles Rams are hot and heavy looking for some sort of pass rusher to bolster that defensive line. You look out there, there aren't many of them, but hey, how about the team that we were just talking about, the Denver Broncos? The Rams have a very, very close eye on Bradley Chubb. We'll see what happens when the Broncos get back from London after their Sunday game.
That makes a lot of sense, and that would be spicy. And we referenced McCaffrey. Obviously, the Carolina Panthers, it's a big topic for conversation. Will they deal more of their star players? What is your intel? What's your take on that, JJ?
It seems unlikely at this point. We talked on our show, Adam, on Sunday about how they turned down an offer of 2 future first-round draft picks for Brian Burns. And is it going to get much better than that? Maybe a first-round pick that would be in 2023 versus ones that were in 24 and 25. But DJ Moore, the wide receiver, not someone that they really want to let go of right now, considering they almost paid him nearly $20 million with his signing bonus and salaries so far. So it'd have to be a first-round pick and then some, considering what they paid him. Derek Brown starting to round out into that Pro Bowl caliber form that they had hoped from the defensive tackle. So you don't want to get rid of him just yet. And then again, Brian Burns, they've already shown that they're not all that interested in just giving him away, and frankly, giving him away for 2 future first-round picks. So teams are going to have to come correct if they want Brian Burns, but even still, not convinced Carolina would do that deal.
And I kind of like that for the Carolina Panthers in terms of keeping those parts and pieces for the future in Carolina. I think that's smart. JJ, Aaron Rodgers needs help. Is he going to get it at the wide receiver position?
I think he very well may. Now listen, the Green Bay Packers have fooled us all when it comes to draft time. They fooled us all when it comes to the trade deadline time. They fooled us all when it comes to free agency. So why would this November 1st deadline be any different, where we're all expecting the Green Bay Packers to make a trade for a wide receiver and help out Aaron Rodgers? Would you be surprised, Adam, if at 4 o'clock Eastern time comes and goes and they haven't added one? No, I wouldn't necessarily be, but I'll tell you this. If there is a player that they would trade for at the wide receiver position, Brandon Cooks out of Houston would make a whole lot of sense. You're talking about a veteran, talking about a speedster. You're talking about a guy who's been with nearly half a dozen teams, and everywhere that Brandon Cooks goes, he catches 1,000 yards. So, you know, you get him in that system. You say, hey, we got you a couple practices with A-Rod. Now go out there and win us some games. That's a guy that could get it done. But again, am I going to be surprised if the Packers don't do the obvious thing at wide receiver that we all expect them to? No, I will not be.
No, you can't be. I do love that name, though, and I'm guessing Aaron Rodgers would as well. JJ, will the 5-2 Dallas Cowboys be active at the deadline?
Well, according to Jerry Jones, and we know that everything that Jerry says is absolutely true, especially exactly when he says it, the Dallas Cowboys will not be active around the trade deadline. But what do you know? Right after he said that, they went out there and got Jonathan Hankins, the defensive tackle from the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, in talking with sources with both teams, I don't think that that's a big loss for the Raiders necessarily, and the Cowboys wanted to bolster their depth up front. But if you're looking elsewhere at a deal they could get done before the trade deadline, I don't see one that's really going to make headlines. Another one like Hankins? Perhaps, but this is not a team in recent years, at least in the last 4 or so years, that has gone out and made that big splash trade at the deadline. So as it stands right now, they were able to weather the storm without Dak Prescott and with Cooper Rush. They like their team right now. I'm not entirely convinced they're going to make a big splash move before the trade deadline.
Yeah, it's the Cowboys, so we asked the question, but truth be told, they should like their team as is with Dak back. This was awesome. JJ, you're the best. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell for more videos.